Hey guys, and welcome to a new build review. Today we're looking at a Korean support Shaco build that looks pretty strange but still works surprisingly well, at least for me it does. Before I go into more detail, in my last video I already mentioned that on my Discord we had the idea to do a community montage, and that will be in the description again if you wanna enter and send me some nice clips there. I already have so many clips that I probably will have to make more than one montage. Just wanted to give a little update in this video about that. And as always, a little disclaimer, I'm gonna be giving my opinion and thoughts on everything, the build and the mastery, so if you think otherwise, then you can write that in the comments below without screaming at me like a monkey. So now that that's said, let's get started. As already said, he's a Korean Shaco who plays a mainly support, and he's Diamond 1 with an amazing KDA. He almost has a 5 KDA and almost a 70% win rate in 72 games. Now his playstyle is pretty damn exotic and something I've tried before a little bit, but he completely committed to being a support, which you're gonna see in a second when we talk about the build more. Now this build is something I never really play, like this kind of Shaco. I always kind of played the full AP Shaco support or something like that, never this kind, so it's gonna be a little harder for me to describe all of it, but I'm gonna try my best. So let's hop right into the build. He starts off with a relic shield and a refillable potion. I normally always started off with either spell thief, but most of the time I just took ancient coin and just stacked traps and played AP as already mentioned. But relic shield is actually pretty nice. You can stay healthy and also of course get the gold for that. So my first experience with trying that out was pretty nice. Then when going back, you're trying to get parts of Face of the Mountain. So first you're gonna get Targon's Brace, which is just a bigger version of the relic shield of course, and you'll get more money from that. Another item that he bought after that is Sightstone before finishing to a Face of the Mountain. I think that depends on how many kills you will get and how ahead you are, or how you think the enemy jungler is trying to punish you, or how aggressive he is towards your lane. You have to get a Sightstone, or you can just finish Face of the Mountain and then get a Sightstone after that. To the item Face of the Mountain itself, it's nice to get that cooldown reduction, and the base health region is also really nice to just sustain on the lane, and of course the executes help with the sustain tremendously as well. I just feel like when you're playing this kind of build, you feel like you're so easily sustainable on lane, but also you're really reliant on your AD carry now, because you don't really deal the most of damage. You're just kind of there to soak it up and still trap them. We're gonna go further into the playstyle when we talk about the masteries, because that's a big part of the playstyle, I think. Now after getting Sightstone, there's a lot of different things that he did. Let's start off with one of the newer items, Redemption. Now Redemption has been nerfed, but he's still been building it, and I think it's still something relatively nice to buy. I thought about getting this on Shaco before too, but I never felt like I wanted to get that because the heal and shield power really doesn't benefit you at all. But with this build it actually will, for the masteries as well, and also of course for Face of the Mountain, because if you build it out, I actually forgot to mention that, of course you will get a shield. And it's kinda hard when you just get started and never really played support to use all these use items. This is kind of the hardest part. You have now with these items, you already have Sightstone that you have to use effectively, so you see ganks coming in, or objective control, all that kind of stuff. Face of the Mountain, to use that at the right point to your AD carry, and of course on yourself as well. And then of course Redemption, which is really hard to use because it takes 2.5 seconds to call down the beam of light and then heal and do true damage to people, so you have to put it a little bit in front and think where the enemies will walk, so you can also use it of course to cut off people, and before a fight to just heal up your people and stuff like that. Something to note about that item as well, that you can use it while you're dead in the circle that you are, so you should really think about using that. So yeah, the stats of Redemption, 300 health and the base health region and the base mana region, and a 10% cooldown. Now you have 20% cooldown with these two items already. It just gives you nice sustain on lane. You can just stay on lane a very long time, which makes it nice. Another item that he went here instead or after was Locket of the Iron Solari, which is another use item that grants another nice shield. Now, Locket of the Iron Solari is really nice for team fight scenarios, but of course also in little skirmishes. If you have the 3 items, the Face of the Mountain, the Redemption, and Locket of the Iron Solari, you can keep your AD carry relatively shielded up, and of course you get the heal and shield power as well from Redemption. So if you get Redemption first and then you get Locket of the Iron Solari, you of course affect that stat as well, and Face of the Mountain gets affected by that as well. I'm really trying to keep this linear, but it's kind of hard because the items all connect together, so it's kind of hard to just go through them without mentioning the other items again. Now to the stats of Iron Solari, it's just armor and a lot of magic resist. He either went both of them or sometimes he just went one of them. The next item most of the time was Ruby Sightstone, which is just the upgrade of Sightstone because we're going for Face of the Mountain and not one of the Sightstone items. There's nothing much to say about that item, it just gives you more wards and a little health. Oh, and also, it also has a unique passive. Item active cooldowns are reduced by 20%. This is actually pretty important because Redemption, Locket of the Solari, Face of the Mountain, Sightstone, these all have active, so those are all reduced by 20%. I almost forgot about that. That is pretty important and pretty nifty because we have all these use items. We actually have only use items at this point. Another thing to mention is the boots. He either went for Ninja Tabbies or Mercury Treads, which is really self-explanatory what to get when we get Ninja Tabby if the enemies are really AD heavy and don't have a lot of CC or mages, and we get Mercury Treads if they have a lot of CC and AP heaviness. Now after getting these core items or getting either Locket of the Iron Solari or Redemption, there were a lot of different items that he went, and we're gonna go through those now. The most basic item that I've seen him build after that was Guardian's Angel when just getting both of them, which is easily to describe. You just have one cheat death, you have both armor and magic resist, which is just nice overall. You just get some stats up and a one-time cheat death, which is nice to suicide for your team as support to start a fight or something like that. You can stall fights extremely long with your ult and the reset. Another item was Mikhail's Crucible. Is that how you say it? I haven't really bought that item or talked about it ever, so I'm not quite sure. Which gives you 40 magic resist, 10 cooldown reduction and 100 base mana regen again. And yeah, just normal stats and a lot of magic assist. So basically if the enemies have a lot of control mages with a lot of CC, this is a great item. But now we get to the million passives again. All these support items have so many passives. You can really get stuck on talking about these, as you might have noticed. The first unique passive is 20% heal and shield power again. So if you have Redemption and Mikhail's, you get 30% heal and shield power on your Locket of the Solari and Face of the Mountain if you do buy Locket. And another passive, Harmony, grants bonus percentage base health regen equal to your percentage base mana regen. So you get 100 base mana regen from Mikhail's, and you also get 125 base mana regen from Redemption. So these two items really synergize well together and buff each other up real nicely. So that's a pretty nice combo. But also what you have to keep in mind, if you have all these items that I just named, you have Mikhail's is 1, Redemption, Locket of the Iron Solari and Face of the Mountain. You have freaking 4 use items and of course Sightstone, but Sightstone you don't really use in crazy action scenarios, so I don't really put that in the same category. I played about 10 games with this build now, and the first 3 games I really had crazy problems using these items in the right manner. I sometimes in fights just spammed them and hoped that they would do good, and sometimes it worked, but if you really use them strategically in the right moment, they can be really, really good. And I love nifty little builds like this, so this is actually extremely fun for me, but it's something completely different that I have to get used to. When you first get started playing this build, you probably won't have the most amazing time at the start, but in my opinion, it's worth trying out a longer time. So now that we talked about Mikhail's, of course, the most important thing about Mikhail's as well is the active. Cleanses all stun, roots, taunts, fear, silence, and slows on an allied champion and grants them slow immunity for 2 seconds. And successfully cleansing an effect this way grants the ally 40% movement speed for 2 seconds. As already mentioned, if they have a lot of CC mages, control mages, or just people with CC of course, but should be a lot of mages as well because you have 40% magic resist through that, then you can protect your AD carry, mage carry a lot with this, if you use it right, of course. and the movement speed complements it a lot because then your AD carry will be able to just run out again. Another item that he has built sometimes was Knight's Vow. Now when Knight's Vow came out, I tried it out on my more AP heavy build, which didn't really work because you don't have a lot of armor. Now to the stats first, 400 health, 100 base health regen and 20 armor. All these items have a lot of health regen, so on lane this benefits you a lot by just being able to sustain and soak up a lot of damage for your AD carry. Now to the passive, designate an allied champion as your partner. If your partner is nearby, gain 40% additional armor and 15 movement speed towards him. So this is made that you can soak up damage for your AD carry. So that sounds pretty nice, getting these little passives on Shaco so you can soak up more damage, because you can't really do it that nicely like, for example, Braum or Leona who just stick on the enemy. You don't really have that amazing option, so having these little nifty items could really help you with that. The other unique passive is, if your partner is nearby, heal for 12% of the damage your partner deals to champions and redirect 12% of the damage your partner takes from champions to you as true damage. Healing and damage reductions are reduced by 50% if you are ranged. This is the automatically you tank for your partner because you don't have crazy CC to keep the enemies away from him, and you get nice healing from him again. So it all sounds really nice, but from what I've seen, it doesn't work too well because I kind of feel like you need to have some armor and health to buy this item, and getting it later, I feel like there's better items to get. Whenever I've played it, it felt a little bit underwhelming. I put it sometimes on the carries that go in the fight, like a Vi or something like that, or Hecarim, that worked alright. I don't know, I still haven't worked out this item too much, and he doesn't seem to build it a lot. He's probably just experimenting with it as well. Now the last item that I have seen him build was ZZ Rod Portal, which is self-explanatory as well. Gives you armor, magic resist, but of course the passive lets you push lanes if you put it somewhere. Passively just pushing lanes, and it gives you more pressure and game control. So just a nice item if you feel like you need it and you don't know what other item you might want to get. This is always something nice to get. Now these were the core items that he always built, but I added some additions that I like to get as well. So if you just want to follow him, then this is what he always did. But something I like to do as well is get a sheen just sometimes in between, because I feel like the little extra damage sometimes can really help you a lot, because I feel like I don't want to commit to the AP or something, but with all these items you are extremely reliant on your AD carry, which is alright, sometimes just playing something passive stuff, but if your AD carry isn't doing the job extremely well, it's sometimes nice to just get the sheen, in my opinion. I just like to get it sometimes, and if you want to build it out, I'll build it out to Iceborne Gauntlet, which is nice. You get cooldown, but you gotta watch out that you don't get too much cooldown, because all these passive items give you a lot of cooldown. So you gotta watch out for that, and of course the little slow can be nice as well, but you also have your E. I haven't tried this out too many times, but it just felt nice. Other items I tried were Banner of Command, which is same like ZZ Rod Portal, gives you more pressure and stuff, but I feel like after they changed the Banner of Command, I don't like it too much anymore. It gives you armor, magic resist, 400 mana, which I'm not a big fan of, and again 10 cooldown reduction. So you really have to watch out. All these items give you a lot of cooldown reduction. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's that good of an item, but I tried it in some of the games and it worked alright. Another item I considered was Hexdash Revolver, just getting that and not building an out. I really would like a Hexdash Revolver item that builds out into something tanky with like a little bit of burst. That would be really appreciated. I would love that in a support item. I don't know if that would be too strong or something, but if I have Hexdash Revolver and Sheen, you already do like a nice amount of burst damage on an AD carry or something while still being extremely tanky. So that's something I tried out a little bit as well, but that's highly experimental. So yeah, that's just for me having some fun or getting that later on. Also another item I really like is Righteous Glory, because it enables you to get into a team fight really easily and engage with your team. 500 health, 300 mana is alright, I guess, but also the passive of when you take damage. When you take damage you get mana, which isn't that great, but when you spend mana you get health, so that's kind of nice too, to sustain over fights and stuff as well. So yeah, Righteous Glory feels like a nice items in some situations as well. Whew, that was a fuck ton of talking. I think I confused confused myself a little bit in the middle. If you have any questions or didn't understand anything, then be sure to write it in the comments below, but I hope it was alright understandable. One last thing that I have forgot to mention at the start is sweeping lens. Get sweeping lens when you have sightstone, in my opinion, and when you're level 9 get oracle alternation to of course reveal wards, and then when you have enough money sometimes you can get a little control ward as well. Now that we're finally over the build, let's move over to the masteries, which are extremely exotic as well. You are going for Courage of the Colossus. He has been trying out a lot of different things in the cunning and resolve tree, but he always took Courage of the Colossus. Now I said we talk about the gameplay more when we get to the mastery, which we're going to do now, because Courage of the Colossus changes it up a lot. You still want to trap people and put them in a cycle of boxes to fear them a fuck ton, but when you do fear them you get the shield, so that is the point where you go in and try to soak up the damage that they want to do now after they're done getting feared. So fearing people is, so when you get them in your traps you don't just one-shot them, that is just a signal for you to go in and use your Courage of the Colossus. In a cunning tree we're going for Bandit to get that passive gold. He also goes for Meditation, which regenerates mana, so you have more sustain and can stay on lane a long time. Everything else is pretty easy to understand. He also goes for Insight, which reduces the cooldown of summoner spells by 15%. Now the summoner spells he goes for Exhaust and Ignite. I already tried that before, and these are extreme combat stats which help you and your AD carry tremendously. If you pop Ignite and Exhaust on the AD carry, he can heal, and the heal is reduced because of your Ignite, and of course he doesn't do as much damage because of your Exhaust. So when you have an aggressive AD carry, this is amazing to increase your fightability. This is pretty much all I have to say about the masteries. You just have to try and proc Colossus in a fight and then go in and use that shield. You can also of course proc it while using your clone when it explodes the little boxes when you have them in a circle. Yeah, just try and make use of the shield. Now the runes follow the same method. They are really passive. He's going for Armor Marks, passive. Then he's going for 0.33 mana regen every 5 seconds on Glyphs, which gives you sustain. Then you get 9 basic armor on Seals, and on Quins he has 2 different ones, which I'm gonna blend in. He either goes for 2 armor and 1 magic resist, or he goes for 3 magic resist, which is obvious against more heavy AP teams, or if they have a Karma or a brand support. This is really helpful to just have some more magic resist. Now this was all the stuff that he takes, the masteries and stuff like that. As you've probably noticed, I still haven't comprehended the whole thing quite yet, because it's really hard to use all the use items properly. Locket of the Solari, Face of the Mountain, and freaking Redemption, to use those at the right points. I think that's pretty much crucial on this build, and to use your Exhaust, your Ignite to proc your Courage of the Colossus. But this build feels, you actually feel like a real support in a way. When you go in, you just try and soak up all the damage. You just jump behind someone, put a box, proc Courage of the Colossus, and then you stick onto the enemy AD carry. When you put your ult as well, you can be so extremely sticky, and they don't know what to hit, and none of you really die. Your clone is extremely tanky, you're tanky, you just backstab them the whole time, do the passive damage, do the extra damage with your E. You're just extremely annoying, and this method actually really works. And you have all the shields as well. You just have to master it, and I really haven't done that, but I'm definitely gonna play that a lot more on my stream or offline as well. I'm definitely gonna train that and play that more, because it's really effective from what I've tried. I've only played about 10 games or something like that, and I've already had pretty nice games with it already. So yeah, I think it's worth investing time into. Now I think this is one of the longest and most confusing episodes that I had yet, but definitely one of the most interesting builds as well. Be sure to tell me your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. I have Twitter, Discord, stream as already mentioned in the description below. If you want to check that out, that would be amazing. I hope you're having an amazing day. See ya.